Okay, so let's talk about how to get customers for your new business because customers are the lifeblood of a business, and it's not easy to get customers when you're a new business. You don't have a reputation, you don't necessarily have any kind of substantial marketing budget, if not zero, and sometimes you don't know where your customers are. People don't know about your product, etc., etc. So, what do you do? So this is the big challenge because if you don't get this right, you will go out of business, no doubt about it. So let's get this right. Let's first deal with the challenge. If we can overcome that challenge, then we can address the problem, which is getting customers. So the two biggest challenges that you will face in getting customers for your business are trust and attention. Let's start at the top. Trust. So people don't trust you, not because you're a dodgy or strange character by any margin. It's because they don't know who you are. They don't know if your product is going to leave them high and dry. They don't know if they can trust you, your brand, your product, your customer service, everything. So that's the challenge that every new business faces. And that's the baseline in which you operate from. And if you want to understand how this is perceived from the customer's viewpoint, here's a little test for you. Because here's the challenge. I think that entrepreneurs think, well, I'm a trustworthy person. I'm a trustworthy guy. Why don't people buy from me? Look, here's my product. It looks great. I'm not going to rip anybody off. Well, try this. Go to your local train station. Go and find the entrance to the exit or the train station. Stand outside the train station with a big wad, a fistful of notes of money, £50 notes, $100 notes, ichiman yen notes, whatever it is, valuable notes. Stand outside the train station with a big fistful of money. And what I want you to do is hand out money to strangers walking out of the train station. What are they going to do? You don't have any preconditions. You don't have any prerequisites. You're just going to give these people money. Here, do you want $100? What are people going to do? I bet you a lot of people are going to say no. Why? Because they don't trust you. When you look at it from your perspective as the business owner, it absolutely doesn't make sense because you're giving them free money. Absolutely everybody would be stupid to turn down free money. But the reason they're turning down free money is they don't trust you. They don't know why you're giving them away free money. Free money sounds great, but where's the catch? You're going to do something. You're going to try and catch them out. It's going to be fake. You're going to make them look stupid. You're going to do whatever. You're going to play on their fears. So if you were to do this test, what you're doing is you're simulating the customer experience when they interact with you and your brand. No matter how good your product is, no matter how trustworthy it is, no matter how reassuring you come across, because people don't trust you from the get-go, they're going to turn down free money. And if you can't give away $100, then what can you do? Of course, some people are going to take it, but the vast majority of people will not take it because there's a catch. So that is what it's like. That's the challenge of trust that you will have as a business owner. And no matter what you do, you will always be facing an uphill struggle trying to market your product and get customers when you face that issue of trust. The second issue is of attention. So trust is they see your product, not sure what you are about, doesn't smell good to me, smells suspicious. What is this guy up to, right? That's what people feel about every single product that they see, unless they already trust it. Attention really means knowing that product in the first place. And there's interesting data out there about attention to the extent that, the average American sees 170,000 marketing messages by her 17th birthday. What makes yours any different? You're just one of the noise. That's the kind of reality that you have to accept. Here, look, I want you to do this test, right? I'm going to show you a video and I want you to watch the video, go along with it, follow the test. And then after this video, I'm going to ask you a question and make you think about the whole attention thing. So let's have a look at this video.
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make?
Go!
All right, so you were watching that video. You were counting the number of passes that the team in white made, right? What was your answer? Okay, let's see if you're correct.
The answer is 13.
All right, did you get that correct? 13, maybe 1 or 2 off, not bad. You paid attention, right? Or did you?
But did you see the moonwalking bear?
Go!
All right, you get it. You were watching that video and you completely missed a moonwalking bear right in front of your eyes. Now you can see this was an ad campaign run for Transport for London on behalf of cyclists. And you can see why. As it says, it's easy to miss something you're not looking for. And if you drive, you know too well how easy it is not to see something coming, even though it's right there in front of your eyes. You know, you turn, you look right to see if something's coming. You look the other way, you turn to look right again, and then boom, it's there. You didn't see it. How is that possible? Well, that's how the brain works, and that has profound implications for your marketing. So let's have a look at those. The key here is that attention is your biggest cost, right? You may have an amazing moonwalking bear, so to speak, but if people aren't already looking out for it, you might as well be invisible, as we've already seen. You know, when you don't have the trust and attention of customers or people who aren't yet your customers, you will do all kinds of things and you won't get results. You won't get the right results. You know, one thing that entrepreneurs do is they do the megaphone tactic, which is to turn up the volume, turn up the supply of the message, go out there and blast people, send out hundreds and hundreds of emails and not get the response that they want. The other thing that they do is they end up discounting everything. So they reduce the price. They look desperate because they need to give this stuff away. You know, they start at $100 and end up at $5 and end up almost giving the stuff away for free because they can't sell it, because they don't have the trust and attention of these potential customers. And it's like going back to that whole problem of handing out free money, is that, you know, they'll look at your product and they won't get it because they don't trust you if you win their attention in the first place, right? The other thing that happens is, as a result of being desperate, you end up with customers that you don't want, bad customers. And there is such a thing as bad customers. And I'm a great believer that, you know, if you want to grow your business, you have to get in the habit of saying no to potential customers that you don't want, that don't align with your vision of what you want from the company. So what happens is when you become desperate, you take on everybody. And there are, you know, key differences between good and bad customers, because good customers promote growth and bad customers detract growth in your business. Bad customers cost a lot of money to service. They complain. They drill you down on price. They end up making you do the kind of work that you don't want to do and take your business the wrong way. And finally, the problem that you'll have if you don't have trust and attention in winning customers is you'll lose customers. You'll win them, you'll lose them. You'll win them through one door and you'll lose them through another door. And that's a very difficult problem to manage, because what happens then is you end up ramping up the volume. So you go back to the megaphone tactic to kind of make up the losses in numbers, and all it does is just compound all of these problems once again, and you end up losing customers again out the back door. So what is the solution? How can you get customers for your new business? Well, the key is to win trust and attention. You do that by earning it. And one of the problems founders have, and I get this when they ask me about their marketing strategies, and they say, how do I get customers? Where do I find my customers? If you don't know where to find your customers, you're already starting off on the wrong foot. Now, this is often a difficult readjustment that entrepreneurs make. The best place to start is your own ecosystem, being the network of contacts around you. So these are the people that you should start with in growing your business, right? So that's why it's really important that you are involved in a business that is relevant to your ecosystem. And I talk about ecosystems in another video and explain a bit more in depth about what ecosystems are and what your ecosystem is. But for the purpose of this video, let's put it this way. An ecosystem is a number of things, but it's the people you have trusted relationships with, and it could be based on an interest, it could be based on an activity you're involved in, it could be based on people you've had interactions with good relationships with, you share a worldview with. So for example, for me, an ecosystem would be triathlon. So I'm involved in triathlon, I do triathlon, I consider myself a triathlete. I think about triathlon, I eat triathlon, sleep triathlon, breathe triathlon. I know a lot of triathlon people. I know professionals, I know coaches, I know amateurs like myself. I know people into cycling, swimming, running. It's my life, right? So that is my ecosystem. Around me, I could name 100 people. Maybe it would take me a bit of time, but I could name 20 or 30 off the bat. And then if you give me a bit more time, I could get that down to 100. So people sort of outside that one step. And the interesting thing is that everybody in that network shares this common passion, this thing called triathlon. And we have similar pain points. Everybody who is into triathlon has similar kind of problems, which sort of unites us in a way. We see ourselves as a little bit different to other athletes as well. We're not marathon runners, we're not runners, we're not swimmers. We do different kind of things that runners don't do, that runners don't understand, and that kind of thing. So all that kind of stuff is going on that defines what a triathlete is, and that's what makes an ecosystem. Now, your ecosystem doesn't have to be a hobby like mine. It could be, for example, you could be politically a libertarian or a conservative. You could be Christian. You could be into world travel. All these kind of things. You could be into the startup community, passionate about that. Whatever you're passionate about, you could be into Harry Potter. You could be into, dog rescue. You could be into helping the aged. You could be into social causes. Whatever it is, whatever you're into, then you will have connections around you. And that is where you should start your trust and attention building. If you don't have a network to plug into relevant to your business, then you're choosing the wrong business. So for example, for me, I could go in and talk about and build a business about cycling because, triathlon, a big part of triathlon is cycling. I'm a keen cyclist and so on. So I could do something like that. But if I went in and started talking about dog grooming, as an example, if I built a dog grooming business, then because I don't know anything about dog grooming, I don't have a dog, right? And I wouldn't know where to start. And if I was doing it just because I had an interest in a specific product and I thought I could sell that product, it's going to be really hard for me to win customers because I don't have the natural trust and attention of people that I can turn to. So with my network of triathletes, I could easily start building a list. I could go, and as I said, I've got 100 people. I could put 100 people on a list, an email list, right? And this is the beginning of a marketing funnel. I talk about marketing funnels in another video, but the key here with the marketing funnel is that, you're getting people. So the key here with your ecosystem is using that ecosystem to build your marketing funnel. And what you're doing effectively is you're starting here at the top, which is your ecosystem of non-customers. You're getting them into a list, an email newsletter, and from that email newsletter, what you're doing is engaging those people in the email newsletter and selling to them eventually by building a dialogue with them, and then converting those email newsletter customers into fans. All right, so that's how it works, and I go into depth about the marketing funnel in another lesson. But for now, that's how it works. So you go to your ecosystem, you tap your ecosystem and use the ecosystem to build your list, and from that, use that to get customers. That is the best way and the most effective way to get customers. It's not the only way. So let's talk about 10 ways you can get customers. And these are different approaches. So some of them use your ecosystem and some don't. And the key differentiator here is the difference between organic and inorganic. And let me explain. Organic marketing is marketing based on word of mouth. It's free. It's based on people you know. So that's where you go to your ecosystem and you email them and say, hey, look, I'm launching this new product or service. I'd like you to try it. That would be organic marketing because it doesn't cost you anything. Inorganic marketing, by contrast, is where you would set up an ad campaign. You would, then use the ad campaign to target specific people, like, for example, triathletes or runners or people looking to lose weight or whatever it might be. Really niche down on that target group and, pay to target those people. That's an organic campaign. And if you look at how your marketing strategy should be based, I would say 70% of your marketing should be organic and 30% should be inorganic. That is a good mix. So 30% is paid and 70% is free. Now, the reason for that is organic is very slow. It takes time because it's free marketing. It's all about, nurturing relationships. Inorganic marketing, by contrast, is quick. You can get customers straight away. So you would use that to top up your marketing strategy, where you got this long burn with organic and this very short burn with inorganic marketing strategy. So that's the basis of how you should do your marketing. So let's have a look at how you're going to do this with those 10 different ideas to get customers. And there are 3 elements to what we're going to look at today that appear in many different manifestations. The first one here is your traffic generation tool. Then you've got a landing page, and then you have mail software. Okay, so let's start at the top. Traffic generation tool is what drives people to your website. The landing page is where they land, where you then commit them to some kind of action, which initially will be signing up to an email newsletter. But later on, as you get them onto the email newsletter, you're going to drive them to a sales page. Okay, so there's the mail software, which you will use to build engagement with them. So you're going to get them from the landing page into the mail software. And on the mail software, you're going to build a dialogue with them. You're not going to sell to them straight away. In another lesson, I talk about how to use your email, especially looking at autoresponders. But you want to get them onto the newsletter and build a dialogue with them, build trust and attention with them. Get them to trust you, get them to learn a bit more about you, get them to pay attention to your message, and then you can sell to them. But that takes time. That will take a couple of weeks to get them from signing up to the newsletter to selling to them. Okay? So those are the 3 elements of what you're going to see in these next 10 tactics to win customers. All right. So let's have a look at those tactics. Before we... Back here again. Now, in all of these, there's some kind of software that you're going to need to make this happen, all right? So one of the pieces of software that I use is a landing page conversion software. There's two options out there. I talk about this in another lesson in a bit more in depth about what's good and what's bad about each option here, but lead pages is one, unbounce is another. There's a whole bunch of other things out there, that software that can do this. Some of these are free and so on, but these are sort of lead conversion software which you can use to create these templates, landing pages, where you don't need to set up a WordPress website. You can just create a landing page. You can edit it and use it to drive traffic to, and from that you can either get people to get onto your email newsletter, or you can then sell to them on a sales page. The second piece of software that you'll need for this is a newsletter software. MailChimp works for me. You can sign up for free. MailChimp works because it's pretty simple, probably the most popular email software out there. And the most important stuff about this is having an autoresponder, which is this sort of, automatic email that goes out based on when you sign up. So you sign up, day one, you get this email that goes out. Day 3, you get another email. Day 7, you get another email, and so on. That kind of sequenced email. That's what an autoresponder is. And the great thing about that is it works whilst you sleep. So the first strategy is combining a lead magnet and an autoresponder. So what are they? Well, a lead magnet is typically something you see on a website which says, give me your name and email address, and then you get this free gift, right? It's pretty simple. Number of different types of lead magnets. I'll show you what examples they are, but that's the sort of the trade-off. Now, this goes back to trust and attention, because when you have new traffic to your website, they don't have any kind of trust or attention with you. They've got a minimal amount because they're on your website. They're here now, so you've got their attention just very partially, but you're only like 1 second away from losing them, right? And trust, they have a little bit of trust because they can see you have a website, but that means nothing. There's a billion websites out there on the internet. So the reason why you now offer them a lead magnet and get them onto your MailChimp or your newsletter software is because you're very likely to lose them if you ask for anything else. If you ask them to buy something or do anything else, like fill in a contact form, 99.9% of people will bounce and leave you. But, 8%, a much higher percent, let's say 5 or 10, 20, whatever percent of your traffic will go for the freebie because it's an easy buy. Look, I can see, here's the offer. I'm not going to get stung. It's free. I'll sign up. Here's my email address. That's like what they pay with. They paid with their email address. Now you have their email address. You can put them onto the newsletter. So in our schematic here, where we are So on our schematic here, where we're driving traffic into the mail software, it's pretty consistent with what we've just seen. So the traffic here won't come from the lead generation software itself. You will have to go out and manually drive traffic to your landing page. And this is where your ecosystem comes in. You could go to your email inbox, go to the people that you know, and say to people, hey, look, I'm giving away this free PDF about dog grooming, assuming that I know anything about that, right? Here's the link. You give them a link where they go to the landing page. The landing page gives them only one option, which is to download the PDF or go away. So most people will download the PDF, and then from that they'll get onto your newsletter. So you can then work out who's serious, who's interested in this area, and so on. So that's pretty consistent with our schematic here. Here's some examples of landing page giveaways. Now this is for a service called Ad Espresso, and the call to action box, as it's known, is here on the right hand side. You can see a visual of what they're giving away. It's some kind of PDF, I'm assuming, some kind of ebook, 500 plus Facebook ads that will inspire you. And then on this right hand side, what they want from you. Okay. Now, I think this is pretty extensive and too much, to be honest. So most landing pages can get away with simply first name and email. And in some cases, you can take off the first name as well. You can just ask for their email address. Okay. So that's an example of a lead magnet plus an autoresponder that will work, that will get people to convert, and you can get people onto your mail software. Now, I want to show you that this isn't just for internet marketing type goods, right? This can work for anything. So I'll show you some examples. Here's one here. Learn how to prevent diving accidents in this free article. Now, imagine if you were offering some kind of scuba diving safety course. Well, that would work perfectly for the kind of people you're targeting. So if you're into scuba diving, chances are a lot of people around you are into scuba diving too. You could email them this link and say, hey, go to this web page, check it out, download the PDF, let me know what you think. So free article, pretty easy to make. You're not giving away a whole free ebook here. And once again, you're just asking for their name and email to get instant access. And the point of showing you this is to show that this doesn't just work for traditional internet marketing type goods. And you don't need to be giving away something related to your product either, in the sense that, this guy might not be selling a course on preventing diving accidents. He may be selling his scuba diving instructor skills or books or equipment or whatever. It just has to be related to the core area, which is scuba diving, not to the product itself. Because at this stage, you're just targeting people who are interested in the area. They don't know they want the product yet. They don't know what solution they're looking for yet. So another example here, just to show you it can work for anything. And another example here, just to show you it can work for anything. Top 10 flooring mistakes. Download this free ebook. That's pretty simple. That's not an extensive ebook either. But I want to show you that you can do this for absolutely anything. You just have to be creative. You don't have to think that, I don't have an internet marketing or an SEO or a Facebook ad type business. You could be offering that dog grooming business or flooring or interior design or scuba diving, whatever it is. There's going to be something that you can give away. And there are people who are interested in this stuff based on the people in your ecosystem. So that's the first way that you can do it. That first example was lead magnet and an autoresponder. The second one is something I enjoy doing, which is a pre-sale MVP pitch. It sounds a little bit technical. I go into a lot more detail about this in another lesson talking about MVPs. Basically, what you're doing is you're building a minimum viable product, which is the smallest possible version of your product that you can offer that somebody will pay money for. And what you're then doing is you're offering this product to your ecosystem, these people here, and you may not even have the product yet. You may not even have finished it. You could have started it. It could be just an idea. You're going to these people and saying, hey, look, I'm going to launch this product. I want you to give me some money, because I think it'd be really interesting for you. And I know you're interested in this area. So this will solve a problem that you have. And there are many different ways that you can do this. I use the 10 by 10 pitch, but there are other different types of MVP pitches that you can use. I talk about in the MVP lesson on the course, talk about Wizard of Oz MVP, manual MVPs, etc. There are so many different ways to do this that, it's a whole lesson in itself. But that's just one option that we're talking about today in terms of, getting customers without actually, spending any money. So this would work a lot better if you were trying to get customers straight away, and you can have a product that you could, launch with these customers in a matter of days, if not weeks. So I prefer this approach over the last one because it gives me paying customers straight away, and I prefer paying customers over everything because the difference between 0 and 1 and the difference is greater than the difference between 1 and 1,000 in terms of payments with customers. So even if you can get a customer to pay $1 or $10, you've taken them over the biggest hurdle that they'll have in the relationship with you. So how does that fit in with our schematic here, the pre-sale MVP pitch? Well, going back to our model here, the traffic is manually generated. You're going to have to email people. You're going to have to phone them up. You're going to have to meet people and pitch them. You're going to have to use all your sales skills to make this one work. The landing page would be a sales page where you could easily set up one option, which is to pay you by PayPal or whatever it is. You can even just arrange that through email. So it doesn't have to have the payment button. You can just have a button that says, yeah, I'm in. And then the mail software is once they've signed up, you'll get them onto a newsletter. And that newsletter will then engage them and develop the relationship with them over time. Keep them on board as the product's getting ready. As you're getting ready for launch of the product, you want to kind of, notify them about this product. Make them part of the journey. So that's the Presell MVP pitch. And as I said, that's covered more extensively in another lesson. A third option here is guest blogging. I don't do guest blogging, but I know people who do this and they do this very well. One example being Neil Patel, who's mad crazy about guest blogging. What he will do is he will go out and pitch 20 blogs and say, hey, look, this is what I can write for your blog. Just let me write an article. And he can go and write an article, and that will generate a lot of traffic back to his website. And the key here with guest blogging is that you have some clear authority. So if you are the expert on dog grooming in the world, you're going to get a lot of opportunity for guest blogging. If you are a leading triathlon coach, you can go out and get a lot of guest blogging opportunities. But if you're not, it shouldn't stop you either. It just means you're not going to get as many opportunities as you would. You just have to be really clear about what your authority is. So back to our schematic here with guest blogging. The traffic comes from another website. The landing page is your website. And the mail software is the opt-in on that page. So you don't want to send the traffic from your guest blog to a generic page on your website. You want to send them to a specific landing page because that will then be geared towards getting them to sign up. Fourth option here, Launchrock. Launchrock is basically a service which you can use for free. It's like a landing page. It's like a launching soon page where you can drive people to a web page, get them to sign up for your service, pop in their email address there. You can then, you can go and customize all this stuff. Very simple, depending on what kind of service you got. Maybe you got some kind of app or whatever. But very simple approach, easy to set up. You can get up and running in a matter of, minutes. Give people that website address and then drive them to that website. You can then use that to get people onto your mail list, which you can then sell to them. So let's go back here. The traffic is going to come from any kind of manual pitches. You need to go out and email your ecosystem. You're going to drive them to the Launchrock webpage, and the mail software you then use is something like MailChimp, which will integrate in the back end of Launchrock. Fifth option is Reddit or any kind of forum. I've just picked Reddit because it's available to everybody. Now, don't do this if you're not already on this forum. Only do this on the forums that you're already a member of, because it's pretty obvious. If you join a forum, maybe you lurk a bit for a few days just so you don't look like a spammer or you're not allowed to post, and then you come in and start posting about your stuff. You'll turn people off. But if you're already active in some kind of a forum, that's a great place where you can go and drive interest for getting people onto your list as a starting point. So this is the Digital Nomad Reddit, which is really popular, one I'm a member of, but not an active member of anymore, but have been in the past. And some of you may be familiar with this. And what this is really a collection of people who are interested in, working around the world, traveling, by becoming a digital nomad. And the kind of questions they ask are, questions which are quite leading. So, I'm about to start digital nomading. Ask me anything. I quit my job to go freelancing. What are the most useful tools you can't live with? That's a great one. If you have one of those tools or you're selling one of those tools, that's one where you can get a comment onto that thread in a non-spammy way, as long as people know that it's you and so on. So that's a great way to drive customer off the bat. What else? So, basic stuff like you could, answer these kind of questions. I mean, and build a relationship with the people on these forums in the same way that you could probably go to a website like Quora and establish yourself as some kind of expert on the subject. But you've got to do it in a way which is quite organic, so it might take time. And there's as with all forums, there's a lot of rules and so on, and a lot of people get knocked off if you get in there and try and promote your goods, right? So there's a fine balance. People will delete your thread and so on if it looks like you're trying to promote a service. So you've got to get in there, you've got to understand what the regulations are and sort of work with them, build relationships with people in the forum, especially administrators, moderators. It takes time. That's very organic. But if we would go back to our schematic here, the traffic will come from the forum itself, so that would be Quora or Reddit. The landing page is where you want to send them to. So, a link to try your software or try your service. And once again, get them onto a mail software. That's the standard procedure here. Another way to get customers for your business, and this would work quite well if you have a physical product, is a website like Pinterest, where, you could set up your own Pinterest boards and promote your products. A lot of the stuff seems to link to Etsy, where a lot of these sort of handmade products have their home. And it works because there's a natural fit between a website like Etsy and the customers on Pinterest. So if, for example, you are targeting female web users, maybe a particular age group. I'm not sure what the Pinterest age group is, but there will be a defined demographic. Then it makes sense to go to a place like Pinterest and target these people by start building your own boards. Be active. Don't just be out there promoting your goods. But, as I said, it's not just about trying to sell your product. It's about trying to build relationships with people, put interesting stuff, interesting content out there, because that is the most bellwether way, guaranteed way of building traffic long term, is just by putting useful content out there rather than just promoting your products. So what else do we have? So on our schematic, the traffic would be on a website like Pinterest. The landing page could be your own website or So in our schematic, the website traffic would come from a place like Pinterest. The landing page would be your own website or eBay or Etsy or wherever it lies. And then the mail software isn't necessarily used in this case, but it could be. If you weren't driving people to a sales page, you could be driving them to get some kind of offer or some kind of lead magnet that you could give away. To be honest, that would work better. If you were selling, let's say, for example, going back to our example here, if you were selling handmade bags, then the mail software could be coupons or offers or discounts or whatever it is that you were giving away. So Instagram also works. I'll give an example here of the website founder aimed at entrepreneurs, very successful in using Instagram, about giving away good content. So what Founder does is they give away these quotes on Instagram, and they just get lots of likes for this stuff, right? And for them, it's a good way of building a relationship, establishing trust and attention, because people will discover them through Instagram, and from that they will then go and check out the Founder website and so on. It's very difficult though to get people to look at a post on Instagram and then go and check out something else on your website. It doesn't happen necessarily like that. What tends to happen is that they build a relationship with you on Instagram, and then they see you on the internet on another occasion, and therefore they're more likely to click through to you. It's not like often they click through from one to the other. So you have to realize that that is not necessarily the best way to do it. It's all about building an awareness in one area and carrying that awareness, that trust and attention through to their internet browsing, because they will land on similar kind of websites as they're sort of going through the internet anyway, and they may come across you again. Or if they've seen you already, they will go back to you and so on. So it puts you at the front of mind. It's like that awareness test. It's about, they're not looking for you in the first place, but if you've got this relationship with them on Instagram, they suddenly are looking out for you when they're surfing around the internet. So here's an example of of what Founder does on Instagram. Is they talk about their webinars alongside the content that they give away. So as you can see, the likes on this one are a lot lower than the last post by comparison. Just to have a look here, 3,000 versus 453. And what I just said just now is that people aren't necessarily interested in clicking right through to this stuff. The click through on this will be pretty low by comparison to, let's say, a landing page and so on. But what they may be able to do is build awareness of this, so when people do go to the website eventually, then it's not the first time that they see this Instagram Marketing 101 live masterclass, right? So to our schematic here, the traffic is coming from Instagram, and it's pretty targeted, so it's high quality traffic. You're pushing them to a landing page. The click-through on that is going to be pretty small, as I said before. And you're getting them to sign up to a mail software, maybe like that masterclass gets them onto a mail list and so on. That's not going to work as neatly as it would on the other examples, because of what I said. Is that what you're going to probably see is you're going to see people come through to your website and drive them to another landing page, not necessarily from Instagram, and get them onto your mail software. But the only reason they're going to do that is because they've already built a relationship and interacted with you on Instagram already. So you've kind of established that trust and attention in a way. Another tool that you can use is webinars. I like webinars. They're very effective in selling. Now, you are best to use a webinar when you have trust and relationships already established with your community. So webinars are good to build an ongoing authority and get repeat people come back to your webinars and then sell to those people at those webinars. They're really fantastic tools because you have their trust and attention in that time with you. If they're new, then chances are they're not going to buy. So your best approach will be to get them onto a mail software rather than onto the sales page from the webinar. But if they're already on your mail software, what you can then do is drive them back to the webinar, and the landing page from the webinar will be a sales page. So really, a webinar is an extension of this process that you've got going on already, which is to cycle people back through and build engagement with them. Getting people cold into a webinar and selling to them is quite hard, but a webinar is a great extension when you do have a relationship with these people already. You know, if I was to go back to the earlier schematic of the sales funnel, which I'll talk about more in depth in another lesson, what you're doing here is you're getting unknown traffic onto your email newsletter. And then one way to convert people from your email newsletter to paying customers is to send them to a webinar. Now that would work really well if what you're selling is an expensive product, is a product that requires a lot of explanation, a lot of trust, it's something they're not familiar with, they're not quite sure why they need that product yet, and so on. You know, if you're selling a handbag may not be the best place. Sorry, a webinar may not be the best place for a handbag, but if you're selling a product that is new to the customer, or a service they're unfamiliar with, or something that they don't know they need yet, a webinar is an absolutely fantastic place to do that, and one of the best tools to do that. And one of my preferred ways, and it converts, you know, you can convert people from the webinar to paid customers and convert them very effectively. So the last two elements of the 10 examples are paid media, which is the inorganic approach. So here's two examples that you can use to get customers for your business. And you can use this on top of the organic approach, because you can use this to spike your sales, you know, where you've got this healthy base of organic sales. And on top of that, you can sort of sprinkle this inorganic marketing to ramp up your sales. Twitter ad campaigns are a great way of doing it. And Twitter is a great tool because it's got a huge reach. You can really drill down on Twitter in terms of your targeting. And one thing you can do with Twitter is you can, you can easily get people to click through to stuff, you know, and that seems to be a very effective way of getting people to click through from a single tweet to, let's say, a landing page. All right. So if we look at our schematic here, the traffic here is so if we have a look at our schematic here, the traffic is on Twitter, and these don't come from your followers. What Twitter would do is then push your message out to a much wider audience based on the criteria that you put in there. And you can do this by daily budgets and so on. And you can offer quite small budgets as well if you're new to this and you just want to try it out and don't want to spend a lot of money, waste a lot of money, just want to learn the ropes, so to speak, of Twitter. It's really important that you push people to a specific landing page. Don't push them to an article. Don't push them to your home page. Push them to a landing page, and one made for Twitter. Now, reason for that is if you push them anywhere else, you'll lose them. And secondly, it's got to be consistent with the message that you just gave them. So, you know, don't talk about one thing and then push them to a landing page for something else. That you'll lose them. They won't give you the benefit of the doubt. You'll lose them. And lastly as well, you can measure it. You really want to measure the success of your campaigns. Twitter will give you some analytics, but you want to measure it on your side because they're far more accurate. And probably the best thing you want to do is to get people onto your mail list, because any other action at this point will lose them. So get them onto your mail software, give them away the lead page, the lead magnet, or sign them up for a webinar, whatever, but get them onto your mail software. Don't sell to them off the bat with Twitter. That doesn't work. You've got to get them onto your mail list, and then you can sell from them from there. As an alternative, Facebook is a great ad software, and I think it's probably the best marketing tool in terms of, you know, what we're trying to achieve here. In terms of bang for your buck, much better value than Twitter. What Facebook can do is not only push out its ads on the Facebook platform, but also on the other platforms, like, for example, Instagram. And it gives you a number of options as well. You know, the simple Facebook feed type ads, or the ones that go on the side, for example. Now, in comparison to Twitter, Facebook is a lot cheaper, it seems. I don't think the targeting is so good on Facebook compared to Twitter. Interestingly, Twitter seems to collect a lot more demographic data than Facebook in terms of interest and so on. And that may be very useful, especially when we're talking about ecosystems and so on. There is one major downside to Facebook, which is important to talk about, which is that Facebook seems to ban a heck of a lot of people. And once you're banned, you're absolutely banned for life. And this is a real problem. You could do something on your ad campaign which you're completely unaware of, breaking the rules, and Facebook will ban you, and it's sort of a no recourse ban. Once you're banned, you can't lift that ban. It's really difficult. So there's a number of reasons you can get banned on Facebook, which a lot of people seem to fall foul of. Is one, using like a PayPal account or, that kind of thing, even though it does accept PayPal. Facebook seems to ban people randomly for unknown reasons. The second one is linking them to a web page that Facebook doesn't like. Twitter seems to be a lot more flexible with this, but if you were to link people to a landing page, if Facebook finds out, chances are they might ban you. It just seems ridiculous, because you could send people from Facebook to lead pages and Facebook will ban you. You won't be able to lift the ban, and you'll never be able to do Facebook advertising again. And that happened to me, and there's nothing you can do about it. And there's absolutely no documentation in the Facebook ad terms that tell you can't do this. It only just tells you that you got to be careful about the quality of the page that you send your ad traffic to. So what does this mean? Well, it means that use Facebook by all means, but be prepared that it could go belly up, as it did for me, and it has done for a lot of people. So use this. If you're a big advertiser, then it seems that you get a lot of favor. If you're a small guy who's spending hundreds of dollars, you can easily get banned for some random reason. But use it. Try it out. Put it alongside Twitter and try it out. These are much more cost effective than Google in terms of your performance. And the reason is because it's early days. Google is so tied up now when it comes to AdWords that if you got an AdWord that's popular, you're paying a lot of money. Very difficult to make money. Very difficult to get a return on your investment when you're doing Google AdWords. But Facebook and especially Twitter are much newer in terms of ad campaigns, and they seem to want to compete against Google, obviously. So they're offering it at a much cheaper price. So, you could be paying a tenth of what you're paying on Google using one of these platforms. So in terms of our schematic here, Facebook traffic is obviously on Facebook, and it doesn't have to be from your own network. You can boost that into a much wider network. The landing page really, once again with Twitter, has to be a specific landing page. Don't send them to your homepage or an article or so on. And then the mail software is obviously, you want to give people away a lead magnet and get people to sign up. Okay, but be aware of all the issues that I've just talked about with Facebook, because if you send them to somewhere like a standalone lead page, they could ban you for absolutely any reason. So those are 10 ways which you can get customers for your first So those are 10 ideas to get customers for your new business. Hopefully you can try one of those and see how it works for you. Try, once that starts getting you some traction, try something else as well. The key here is that of those 10, not all of them are going to work, but find the one that works for you, or find the ones that work for you and go with those, and don't try and make every single one work. If you try Facebook ad campaigns, it doesn't work, don't stick with it. Move on and try something else. But find the one that really works for you and your style. And that's the key to getting customers for your business, is that you will find the format that works for you. And once you find that, you get traction, then focus on optimizing and improving that format. And that's the next step in marketing, is to move them down that funnel. Get people onto your list, sell to people on your list, and from that, turn those people into regular customers.